yet more proof of exactly what I've been talking about is going on in China right now, which is that EV sales for Chinese brands have risen this year. And car sales of legacy automakers have gone down drastically. Here's clear, direct evidence of this. The 3 brands in China with the biggest stockpiles of cars industry-wide across the entire country, we're talking more than 100 car brands, are General Motors, first place. They have the biggest stockpile. Second is Volkswagen. And third was Citroën. Now, obviously, Citroën is not really relevant in China. So let's just focus on the 2 big brands here, General Motors and Volkswagen Group. Now, traditionally, these 2 companies have made billions of dollars every year in China. That is coming to an end. And that's a very big problem if you're General Motors or Volkswagen, because in particular, in the case of the Volkswagen Group, 50% of their profit globally every year for about 10 straight years has come from China. Not anymore. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. It's great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. It looks like I'm kind of like laughing about this, but I'm not. I mean, guys, I started the channel, 3 years ago? About that? Can't even remember, but about 3 years ago. And this is what I was talking about back then. I was warning these clowns that they needed to change, that China wanted EVs, consumers wanted EVs, and if they didn't start making them, if these legacy automakers didn't start making them, taking it seriously, they'd lose their position. At General Motors, they're one of the top 3 brands in China. No longer, not even. General Motors at one point in time was in fact the biggest selling brand in China. And they were raking in billions. Now, there's been a huge collapse in GM sales since then. And they are becoming less and less relevant. Now, yes, it's true that GM does now have some EVs for sale in China. But it's also true that they make up a fraction of the company's sales. Unless you're talking about their tri-venture with SAIC and Wuling, which sells the micro EVs. And that's sort of a side gig for the company that I don't think you would really consider to be General Motors themselves. Chevrolet stores have reported the highest stockpiles of any brand in China, followed by the Volkswagen Group. New car backlogs at Chevrolet dealerships have reached basically crisis levels and the highest industry-wide for the 2nd straight month in a row, despite a significant drop from a month earlier. Chevrolet's new car stores reported an 86-day supply of vehicles on average last month, as opposed to 112 days in March. So you can see how bad March was. March was shocking. What's General Motors done as a result? Well, GM sales continue to fall every single month. But you know what, GM? Don't feel too bad, guys, because the same thing's happening to Toyota, Japanese brands, legacy auto brands, Volkswagen. You're all in the same sinking boat together, really. It's just that GM's position on that boat appears to be a bit worse than everyone else's. Citroën dealerships had the 2nd highest inventory, along with Volkswagen. They were about equal, actually, pretty much the same. April stockpiles at stores marketing foreign mass market brands produced in China, they're obviously the worst. Inventories at stores from actual Chinese brands are less on average, even though there's too many of them. There's an insanely large number of brands. I mean, there's about, I think, 89 to 90, depending on which ones have gone bankrupt over the last few months, Chinese EV brands in existence. And even the Chinese government thinks it's ridiculous. Even brands like BYD and other big brands in China think it's ridiculous. They think a lot of these companies need to just join together, have maybe 5 of them join up together or something. I don't know if that would really work in the real world, but that's what they say. Now, a lot of people, and I've seen a lot of apologetics, people saying, oh, this is normal. This is what happened in the early days of the automotive industry back in 1910, 1905 in Europe and the United States. What a load of malarkey. This is not 1905. This is not 1910. How is that even remotely relevant to today? There is way too many car brands. There's way too many cars being manufactured. Guys, this is what I would say in response to that nonsense. There is millions of cars in China just sitting around gathering dust, not being sold because there's too many vehicles being produced. That's what I call mass wastage. That's ridiculous. That's overproduction. There's enormous overproduction. And even now, a lot of these overproduced cars are being sent to Europe. And the ports in Europe have held them for more than a year. They're just sitting there. It is a problem. The Chinese government says it is a problem. And if its own government says there's a problem, it doesn't matter how much you kind of come up with these ideas to say that it all makes sense and it's all going to work out in the end. It's not. They're producing too many cars. There's going to be a huge collapse at some point in time. Things are going to get bad. We've already seen this year car sales have begun dropping, in particular because of the economic situation. We know that. That's why the Chinese government has done what it has never done before. It's giving loans, $0. You can walk into a car dealership, buy a BMW EV for $70,000 with no money, nothing, $0 with a 1% interest loan. That is mass stimulation. They're doing that for all brands now. You can walk into a dealership, have no money. Who knows if you can pay back this loan? This is subprime. They're getting subprime buyers to buy cars. I don't see that as being a good decision. But China believes it's necessary to stimulate their automotive industry because, well, way too many cars being made. Someone needs to buy them. So let's just put massive stimulus out there. This may not end well. We'll see. What are your thoughts? Please let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching.